Okay, so this video is going to be explaining the grades that were shot by Axis out here based off of the prints that he received. So the overall plan on the prints was to saw cut back here in between stall 95 and 96, go from curb out here to this pin, which is in center of drive lane, saw cut all the way to this pin, center of drive lane, even with the curb island, and then take that pin all the way back to the corner to fix this situation. So these prints were designed so that this catch basin gets raised up a fill of 21/100ths. That's approximately 2.4 inches that this needs to come up. That puts us exactly at our 2% with no wiggle room, right at our tolerance for our ADA, because it needs to be within the ADA. So the prints got that right. That needs to come up to ADA, but that puts us right at our threshold with a high probability that any one little thing would get us out of compliance. Now, just going over his paint, we have a fill of 0 here. Working back, we have a fill of 0 here. This is right where our ADA tabletop or pillow needs to start. The flow line is designed at the base of the stalls, and we would have to essentially match the percentage of the pillow we built coming up to this elevation. So I had him shoot some other points just to ensure that with this raised up out here at our saw cut line, it is higher. So we do have fall over here. But the problem with the plan is the plan has us raising up this point here 44/100ths. That's like 5 inches. We only have like a 4-inch curb reveal. So as the plan sits, we would have great flow going down to our newly raised basin. It would build up and we'd have our percentage of flow that we need, but we would be higher than the island, which is not okay. Now, I came up with some slightly different numbers. What I did was I calculated 1.5% off of the dome for our ADA. That gives us a tiny bit of wiggle room so that we do not go over our tolerance and this is not rejected by the inspector. At 1.5%, this needs to come up 3.5 inches, not 2.5 inches. Now, when I shot that at its new 3.5 inch level, it is still lower than this point at its existing right now. So if we do not touch this, because I do not recommend we lift it up higher than the island, I'm looking at this like it's locked in because we're already at less curb reveal than we need. So we cannot build this up any higher. So this point is fixed. With this point not changing and that basin getting raised up to what I think is a number that's possible, because I don't think perfectly 2% is possible with asphalt. So that raising up, it does still flow to here at existing, but it's 0.37%. Now, he also shot it without raising it up to 3, only raising it up like the print shows, the 200ths. So from 200ths to the existing, what it's at right now, it would be 0.7%. But like I said, I don't think we should try and do that, because then we're at a 2% exact tolerance off of the concrete, which is, I mean, any wrong one little rock out of place, and that inspector is going to see a 2.1, 2.3, something out of tolerance, and it's going to get rejected. So I would say that keeping those the way they are, keeping it there, then raising it up with its new design, this 3.5 inches taller. We also put a mark on the curb of a 6-inch curb reveal. It's that little white dash mark right there. That gives us enough fall to get into this basin. Everything will work. 1.5% off of here. Everything will work. The only area of concern would be our new flow line through here that's at 0.37, which is extremely tight, but not impossible. It would flow. Might hang up a little bit, but it would flow. And at least that's not in an area where we're held to an inspector, by an inspector, to a tolerance. So my suggestion would be to keep the plan at the areas that it's at. And you could even bring it in a little bit, because we're at fill 0 here. So I don't know why we would come back and take that out, that extra chunk there. I don't know why we would need to. So I would say from 97, maybe give us a little bit more, because this fill 0 point, that fill 0 point does still have a slight bump up to our pillow top. So I know it works back to here. So if we stuck with the plan that they wanted to do, saw cut here, do the new plan with the raised up elevation, but give it a little more so we're not at 2%, and then we have an extremely tight flow line from here to that island. Everything flows from our saw cut point to our new elevated basin. It flows in. It's a little tight, but it flows. But the tightest area will be from the basin to here at 0.37%. And that's the only way I can see this working.